Good evening, everyone, or good afternoon, everyone, depending on when you're watching this program. Thank you all for joining me on the West Ham Voice. As I said a few times over the past few weeks, I'm going to be doing a number of videos. Some are going to be pre-recorded, some are going to be live about some of the transfer targets that we've been linked with. And as you know, if you read all the social media columns, we've already signed 20 goalkeepers, half a dozen right backs, 15 centre backs, 21 strikers, and all the rest of it, haven't we? But what I thought I'd do is I'll do these scout reports, scout videos on some of the prospects or some of the targets, should I say, that seem a bit more likely than most of the others. So I thought I'd start off by doing a video on Nayef Aguerd. Yes, if you've heard the rumours, West Ham United are reported to be close to signing the 26-year-old Rennes and Moroccan international defender Nayef Aguerd. And if you read other stories, you'd be led to believe that he's already signed the contract. He's already had photos taken of him with the next season's shirt, and everything's ready to go. So if that's the case, then why is it not been announced in social media and on West Ham United's website, like all the other signings that have happened, like Boubacar Kamara for Aston Villa, or other players for other clubs? Well, the difference being is that Aguerd is still under contract, whereas Haaland for Man City and Kamara for Aston Villa, etc., they're free agents. So those clubs that they've gone to are able to announce their signings far more imminent, far quicker than we can, because at the moment the transfer window's not open, so we're not eligible to announce any transfers until the window's open on the 10th of June. But let's get on with it and talk about Aguerd, because he's a very interesting defender. I talked about him for the first time last July when I looked at my notes going back. He was first linked to us this more or less this time last year, and there were many rumours that we would have purchased him last summer, but that wasn't meant to be. So, who is he? What is he? Where's he from, etc.? Nayef Aguerd is Moroccan, born on the 30th of March 1996 in Kenitra, Morocco. He's now the age of 26. He started off his youth career at the Mohammed VI Academy in Morocco. Now, the Mohammed VI Football Academy is located in Sale in Morocco. It was inaugurated by King Mohammed VI in 2009 in order to reshape the national sport in Morocco. One of the other players there that's developed through the youth ranks is Seville striker Youssef En-Nesyri. Now, read into that what you want. You know, people are now beginning to speculate. We're signing Aguerd in order to entice En-Nesyri. I don't know if they were at the youth academy at the same time. En-Nesyri is a couple of years younger than Aguerd, so maybe not. Who knows? But they've done the job really, because Morocco now they've qualified for the World Cup 2022, and they've got a couple of decent players in various European teams around. In his early career, once he moved from the youth academy, he signed in 2014 for Rabat, FUS Rabat in Morocco, for a fee of £13,000, primarily as a centre back, but also played a few games as a left back. He made a total of 75 appearances for the Moroccan club. He then signed his first contract outside of Morocco in 2018 for Dijon for a fee of £1.4 million. Again, he made most of his appearances as a centre back, but on a couple of occasions again he appeared as a left back. He made 29 appearances in total for the club before signing in 2020 for Rennes in France for a fee of £3.4 million. The current contract expires. It was extended in 2021 until 2025. Now, 2021, as I said, was the year that we were meant to be linked to him. But then instead of that, he signed an extended contract till 2025 with his current club. Again, all his games that he's played at Rennes has been in the centre back role, and he's also helped to take the team to next season's Europa League. He made 80 appearances so far for the French club. I've mentioned already he's a Moroccan international, and he's debuted for the Moroccan team in 2016, helping his country reach the 2022 World Cup finals this winter. And so far, he's made 19 appearances for the club. For his international team. The honours that he has was when he was at FUS Rabat, winning the championship there, and also winning the cup winners one time each. His current contract, as I've already mentioned, is till 2025. Now, there are rumours that we've got to pay anything up to 20 odd million pounds for the player, but it's suggested that he's valued at around 9 million. This time last year, when I reported on him, he was valued at something like about 7 to 7.5 million pounds. So I don't think many people are going to expect his value to have shot up in a year. Oh, it happens, it can happen, but I think the sort of price range that we're looking at could be circa 9 million pounds and maybe some add-ons on top of that. Some details of the player. He is 6'3", primarily, as I've already mentioned, a centre back. Now he can play as a back two or as a back three in the centre of defence. He can fill in as a left back when required. Now, obviously, he's left-footed. If you haven't worked that out already, which can balance the best defensive qualities of Kurt Zouma. We know that David Moyes. It's been suggested on a number of times that David Moyes is ideally looking for a left-footed centre back. So in order to be able to get the best out of Kurt Zouma, which sort of bodes well for him. We know Ogbona's maybe on his way back, but at 34 years of age, 33, 34 years of age, Ogbonna, we're going to look for a replacement for him at some stage in the near future. And we know that the players we have can't really play. I mean, we've had players going into the left back, like Diop, for example, going into the left centre back of role, but it doesn't exactly suit him. He can kind of do that role, but you normally want a left-footed centre back in order to play on the left side of centre back, of course. So in that respect, it would bode well for him and bode well for the team, where we get the best out of Kurt Zouma playing his respectful place as right side of centre back with Nayef Aguerd playing on the left side. Like I said, though, he is comfortable either in a back three, or he's also comfortable in a back two formation as well. When he plays in a back three, he covers so much ground and may seem to be slightly more adventurous in when winning the ball within a few strides, can confidently get into a midfield position to pass the ball forward. But he's not one of these defenders that marauds forward. So don't get me wrong. He's not a player. Sometimes you talk about the modern day centre back who can sort of take the ball out of the defence and go forward, going into an attacking role, etc. That's not his style of play. What he does do, and he does do really well, once he wins the ball back from defence, he can take the ball forward into a kind of a sweeper midfieldish role. But then what he will do is he will then pass it on to the attacking players, who will then do the creative work, creating chances and so on and so forth. He's got great aerial ability. Excuse me. He's got great aerial ability. He really, I mean, when you look at some of the videos that have been played and some of the matches that he's been involved in, he really heads the ball cleanly. And when I say cleanly, it's like, he really gets behind the ball, heads it well, and he's got such strength in his headers that they sort of beat. They can go out quite far away from the 18-yard box. He's also scored a couple of goals. He's not a prolific goal scorer, but he's scored this season 4 goals. It's 4 goals in total throughout his career, of which they've been with headers, and they've been quite bullet headers, quite powerful headers. He's calm, he's composed on the ball, and he never seems to be under pressure. He always seems to find a way of gaining that extra yard on the players that he's marking, or the players that he's defending against. He seems really, really composed. He always seems to be first to the ball, never seems to panic in defence. He always seems to be a yard ahead, and that bodes well, especially in the Premier League when it's quite fast paced, to have a defender that can cover ground pretty quickly. He's got great ball distribution as well. He's got a sweet left foot. You know, if the way he takes the ball from defence and the diagonal cross over to the right side of midfield is superb. Pinpoint passes, really, really crisp passes. And someone like Jared Bowen would really sort of benefit from the kind of crossfield passes that he can make. And also, when we go into the counter attack, you know, when we're under pressure, getting a player like that to be able to do the crossfield passes like that would set us up really nicely for a counter attacking football. He plays a high line, which we know David Moyes likes. David Moyes likes to press. He wants his team to press quite high. You know, narrow the sort of the gap between sort of the centre of the park and their ball and their 18-yard box. And he does that. He does that quite well. But you know, many people will say, yeah, but playing the high line, you know, when we lose the ball, that's when we're in trouble. You know, we've got teams playing the ball over us. But what he does is he hasn't got the he's not the speediest of defenders, but his, you know, his languid sort of height, his 6'3" height, he puts his those long legs to great use, and he can cover ground pretty swiftly. You know, it's not fast, but it's quite rapid. And so, you know, so getting himself back into defensive positions is not a problem for him. And I've talked about him being calm under pressure. You know, he still manages to find the ability to get back in a decent defensive role to cover the ball when we've lost the ball. So that in itself is quite good as well. He reads the game really well. If you look at the way he plays for Rennes, you know, the way he positions himself, he's got great positioning skills. The way he positions himself, he always makes sure he's got enough. He's ahead of the attacker. Or he's got his body in front of the attacker to sort of block the ball or get the ball away, etc. So in that respect, you know, he reads the game well. He knows how to position himself. You know, he's a very quite a thoughtful defender. And then he's got strong and precise. He's strong and precise in the challenge. And when I say that, he's not the sort of player that's going to go into a 50-50. And we've seen it happen with a few of our players, like Creswell, like Dawson, giving penalties away, being sent off, etc. When he goes into a challenge, he goes into the challenge cleanly. He always wins the ball. He gives away very, very few free quicks, very, very few free kicks, which also really, really bodes well. And he's not the sort of player that if he goes into a 50-50 challenge, he's not the sort of player that's going to not go into that challenge. He goes in full throttle, but he's clean, crisp and clean in his tackling and his attack play. You look at his stats in comparison to our other defenders. You know, he comes up quite high with most of those. He's got the highest number of minutes played. He's got great pass attempts, greatest number of pass attempts with the greatest pass attempt accuracy. I've mentioned his aerial duels contended. With those, Dawson comes just slightly on top, but Aguerd is not far off from him. Ground duel success, you know, he's got the best ground duels win attempts. Clearances, that's Dawson as well. But again, only slightly more clearances than Aguerd. This is on average, by the way. This is on average clearances throughout the whole season. He's got the best number and the highest out of all our defenders, current defenders, for interceptions, and a very, very good rate. He comes second to Dawson, third to Dawson and Zuma on blocks as well. So he's an all-round decent defender, a clever, astute defender, someone that he takes his. I don't know if this sounds weird, but he takes his defensive duties really, really seriously, and so a defender should. So is he coming to West Ham United? Or we've been led to believe that you know, the player is on his way. We don't know what the value is, what the agreement is, and how long the term will be for. But at 26 years of age, you can see that Nayef Aguerd, you know, it's got a good 4 years ahead of him, 4 or 5 years ahead of him. If we look at some of our defenders at the moment, you know, Dawson, Ogbonna are in their 30s. Diop is the same age as Aguerd, but Zuma, he's slightly older, 27 years of age. So if we signed him for, say, a 3 or 4 year contract, that would be quite good. And I think it will be for around the 9 million plus add-ons on top. So, all in all, what does he give? He gives Moyes the option of playing a three at the back in games alongside any of our current central defenders, even of course alongside Aaron Cresswell. And the reason I mentioned that is, say for example, should we, be in the position that we were in this season, Aaron Cresswell playing on the left side of defence, and either Dawson or Zuma playing on the right side of defence. If Aguerd plays in the centre of those two, what he can actually offer is he can almost offer like a sweeper type role. So picking the ball up, like I said, and taking it out to a reasonable position, then passing it on to the creative players. Now, who have we seen doing that quite a few times this season? Declan Rice. When we're under the cosh a couple of times, Declan Rice has sort of dropped back almost as if he's another centre defender, and then he carries the ball out. Aguerd can do that. It won't be the same as Declan, where Declan wants to run it through to the 18-yard box. You won't necessarily see Aguerd do that, but certainly to sort of play that pivotal role in the center of a three, he can do that with ease, and he could be that kind of a sweeper role. He's agile. One of the things that we're criticised for is that we don't have a lot of agility in our central defence. Zuma, good defender, but not sort of very agile. Diop can be a little bit loose with the ball sometimes. Dawson is not his natural way to play football by being agile, taking the ball out. Whereas Aguerd seems to have that natural ability, that sort of freedom to be able to take the ball out of defence and take it forward a little bit. So he's young. He's got the best years ahead of him. He'll be everything that David Moyes has suggested in the past about being a young, hungry player. Looking for the next step up, the next challenge, and of course, West Ham United being in the Premier League and playing in the Premier League will certainly be a step up for this player. So he's interesting. I think he's an interesting player. I think if we do get him, and all the suggestions are that we will get him, I think it will be a good purchase for West Ham United. So I'm just going to leave you with a roundup of what I've already said with this video, and join me again soon for another scout video on another prospect that we think we're about to sign. Thanks for watching. By the way, hit the subscribe button if you're new to this channel. Hit the like button, etc. Press that bell notification as well, so you know when I'm next on. All of that helps. And thank you for watching.